guys, Celia here, and today we are going to be doing an interview with Marisa Andersen from the Acupuncture Place. She will be discussing Chinese herbs and prevention and how to kind of boost your immune system with everything going on. So whenever she gets into the chat, I'll add her in. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the comments and I'll be sure to ask her. So like I said, once we get Marisa in here, we'll be discussing Chinese herbs and prevention. I think she's here. Hello everyone joining. I'm bringing Marisa in right now. Hey
Hi.
Marisa, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I have to adjust my camera because now I'm at the top.
Yeah.
So, we have you here today and we're going to do a little bit of an interview about, obviously, like Chinese herbs and prevention. So for the people that don't know you, Marisa is actually my acupuncturist. And would you just tell everyone a little bit about what you do and the different kinds of services that obviously you provide?
For sure. Yeah. So I'm a licensed acupuncturist and I'm also a Chinese herbalist. I've been practicing for almost 4 years now, and I have a private practice in Comac, New York. For anyone who's in the immediate area, I'm over on Vets Highway. And I mostly specialize in a lot of women's health, cosmetic acupuncture. I also do a lot of headache and migraine relief, but it's not limited to any of these things. I really treat anyone and everyone who comes through my door. And but as you can imagine, my office is currently closed at the moment. So I've been doing a lot of herbal consultations for people through the phone and over Skype. And this is my way of still reaching out and being able to help people during this crazy time.
So for people who aren't familiar, what are Chinese herbs and how can they help in the current situation? I know with coronavirus and everyone being home, it's a little unsure and people are trying to do the best that they can to stay healthy. So how can these help?
Yeah. So Chinese herbs have been used, as you can probably imagine, for thousands of years. And Chinese philosophy really is founded on the idea that, you know, food is medicine. So everything is taken into consideration that we put into our bodies. And especially in this time right now, we want to give our bodies the best chance to survive this virus and also to prevent it. So this is where herbal medicine comes in, and there are some really, really fantastic herbs that do a great job of kind of putting this shield up in our bodies so that we can prevent things from entering. And also they do a really great job of addressing them once they're more progressed. So you know, there's some, I've been kind of telling people there's kind of like 3 categories that people might fall into. And the first one is more of like a prevention phase. You know, we have herbs that, like I said, they put the shield up, they help just boost our immune systems in general. And so herbs are good for that person. There's also the person who might be experiencing a little bit of symptoms at this time, or maybe they're just like home quarantined and they're like, I don't know, I feel something. Is it that? Is it not that? I don't know. It's also allergy season right now too. So I think it's like kind of confusing for a lot of people, but there's also herbs for you now too. And then also the people who have tested positive, who are experiencing symptoms. The herbs can also address, you know, fever, cough, dry throat, phlegm, congestion, all of these things. The herbs have been treating for thousands of years. There's no one size fits all approach here. And that's what really makes herbal medicine so wonderful. We really take the patient into consideration and also their history. You know, if they're a person who's had a really weak immune system their whole lives, then we're going to give them different herbs than if we're just trying to boost the immune system of someone who's really on the healthier side.
So when you're doing your consultations with whomever it may be, what kind of questions do you ask them to get a little bit more information on what's happening specifically with them?
Yeah, that's a good question. So first off, we just talk about right up front. I'm like, do you have symptoms? You know, because I think that's why most people are reaching out to me right now and trying to figure out if they're even a candidate for herbs or whatnot. So number one question is, do they have any symptoms right now? And even if they think they're unrelated to the virus, I still ask them to just tell me everything, because the more information they give, the better. So we talk about symptoms that they either are or aren't experiencing. We talk about their current stress level and, is this causing anxiety for the person as well? Because I know with high stress comes, other symptoms. It could be affecting your digestion or your sleep. So that can certainly be addressed through herbal medicine too. All sorts of different questions. Also, like I said, their history. So if they have a history of asthma and allergies, we're going to take that into consideration. Add in some herbs to help kind of decongest the nasal pathways and just allow smooth flowing of that. Also, if they're living with someone who maybe is still coming in contact with people every day, a lot of people out here live with nurses and police officers, so they're a little bit more at high risk, I would say. So questions like that, and then just their general health, like what's been their health long term,
That makes sense. For anyone who's watching, if you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments and I'll ask Marisa for you guys. So Marisa, with all of these different herbs and the different things that you're prescribing, you mentioned about how food is medicine. Mm-hmm. What types of things can people be eating right now to help their immune system?
Sure. So I would say, well, I'll start with the things that I would say to avoid first. So,
okay.
Because I think right now with most of us being home and quarantined, it's like, I keep seeing these memes about like, social distance me from my refrigerator. And, like everyone's just like going crazy with the food right now. And like, I know mm-hmm. myself, I'm doing so much baking. So
You're doing baking, but you haven't sent me anything yet?
Sorry.
Sorry, continue.
In the mail.
Okay,
yeah.
Perfect.
So I think that my number two things I would say just kind of stay away from is sugar and dairy right now. They're both inflammatory type of food, and especially if you're a person who's more prone to getting sick and having congestion and phlegm kind of build up in the body, you want to stay away from these things. So, and like I said, with the baking, it's good because we have control of, how much sugar you put into mm-hmm. your bread or your muffins or whatever, so just making little changes here and there is really helpful. And it's just going to give us the best chance to fight off whatever it is we come into contact with. So I would say stay away from the sugar, stay away from the dairy. Of course, you want to everyone is saying to just increase your water, but it's no joke. You really want to stay totally hydrated. A lot of the symptoms that people are experiencing are that dry kind of cough and dry mm-hmm. throat. With the fever and the more like hot type stuff people are experiencing. So there's clearly this increased heat in the body that's kind of drying up our fluids. So we want to stay really hydrated. And with that, one of the foods that we love in Chinese medicine to do this is pears, actually.
Pears?
So pears are really great at nourishing and moistening our lungs. So, and they're really beneficial for the respiratory system in general. So I would say the next time any of you guys are doing your pea pod or, venturing out to the grocery store, definitely pick up some pears. And I know I think there's a recipe on my Instagram that if you scroll down far enough, you'll find. I made it a while ago, but I like to bake them because in Chinese medicine, we also believe in taking in warm and nourishing foods. So by cooking our pears, we're really giving our stomach the best chance of digesting this fruit. And I like to drizzle a little bit of honey and some cinnamon and even like chop up some walnuts, and then you can pop it in the oven for 30 minutes or so. But it's a great little easy recipe, and it's very nourishing and protecting to our lungs. So I would definitely say go get some pears. And then the other thing is, I don't know how many people out there use a juicer. I'm a juicer. So I like to do juice every couple days or so. And I've totally been adding some garlic into my juice.
Mm-hmm.
My fiance is like, do not put that in mine. But it's actually, it makes it very hearty, in my opinion. So, you know, if you have some ginger or garlic lying around, you can certainly toss that into your juice as well, or just try to cook with it too. You know, if you're cooking vegetables or stir fry or something, it's easy to just toss into there and just up the garlic and up the ginger. So yeah, those are my recommendations.
So maybe after this, you can share that post on your story so everyone can go over to your
Sure.
page and see your baked pears recipe.
Yeah.
So I just want to take a step back real quick. What are the benefits of things like ginger and garlic?
Yeah. So without getting too much into the whole medicinal theory of all of this, the way we learn herbs, like back in school, is based on properties. So everything we take in has a job. So you know, if you've tasted ginger before, the second you put it on your tongue, it tastes warm. It's almost a little spicy, versus maybe say coffee, which is, you can consider that more of a bitter taste. You know, so foods have different tastes, and based on the taste of the food, it has a certain job and a certain direction and a certain area that it goes to in the body. So ginger, because of its warm and spicier taste and flavor, it's going to help be more aromatic in the body and break things up. So that's why ginger is really good when we first start to feel like we're getting a cold, because it's going to kind of push that back out of the body. And garlic, I think garlic just has antiviral properties. So that's good just for like more systemic treatment. But too much, like anything in too much is not good either. So everything in moderation, you know, you don't want to like be eating a pound of garlic or ginger. Like that's not good either. Just a little bit here and there, just so they can do their job and, you know, fight off whatever it is that we're coming in contact with.
Gotcha. So basically, we're not trying to keep the vampires away. We're just trying to put a little bit into the food to help out with the immune system.
Yes, yes.
So you mentioned having more water. Are there any other things that are helpful for hydration?
I would say just teas, you know, water and tea. We try to stay away from anything iced in Chinese medicine. If you can think about your stomach kind of being this furnace, you know, this is where everything we take in has to be digested. So we want to make that run as smoothly as possible. So if we're taking in foods that are really cold in nature, like ice cream, or smoothies, or iced beverages at this time, we're actually taxing our stomach, and we're forcing it to now do extra work to kind of heat up this food in order to make it digestible. So I would say, you know, stay away from anything iced or super cold. You want to, you know, soups and stews are great right now. It's still kind of cold enough that we're kind of wanting this like cozy comfort food, and that's always good too, nice and digestible. But aside from hydration, I would say just stick with the water and you know, room temperature or warm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically waters, teas, things with electrolytes probably.
Sure. Yeah,
like
for sure.
Gatorade.
Yeah.
Okay. So my next question for you is, with the whole background of Chinese medicine, I know I've been to a couple of your talks. Can you tell me a little bit about not too far, but like into the theory of how everything is kind of connected and how you should be taking care of your body as well as like just your symptoms?
Yeah. So that's a big question.
I know, but I know you'll have a great answer.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the message that I'll give with that question is that acupuncture and Chinese medicine are so great for prevention, period. Because it's all about balancing the body. So it's balancing the energetics in our system and making sure that all of our organ systems are working properly and reducing our stress so that everything can function optimally. So acupuncture and herbs together are the best ways to prevent anything from happening. With regular treatment, you're really bringing your body to an optimal state. So, you know, a lot of times people call me and I'm kind of like the last and, you know, ditch resort to try and make them feel better. And you know, sometimes I want to say to people, like, if you had just come in like 10 years ago, you know what I mean? Like we wouldn't be at this place right now. But I think that's just kind of the way our society is unfortunately molded to want things with, you know, like this with the snap. But yeah, prevention is definitely key, and acupuncture and Chinese herbs can definitely do this. So, you know, even if you're not feeling sick, doesn't mean that you can't get a treatment. And if you are sick, you know, a lot of times patients will call me and say, you know, I'm not feeling well. And I mean, this was prior to Corona, but and I'll say still come in, you know, because I'll treat you, especially if it's at the very early stages of that. We can totally eliminate the time that you would be experiencing this cold or whatever it is for if you come in right away. So and a lot of my patients know this. So they're like, I'm here and I feel like crap, and I'm like, thank you for coming, because now I can help you. So I think prevention is definitely key. And, you know, just the takeaway is you don't have to feel sick or be in pain to get acupuncture or take herbs.
I'm going to ask you another question because I've been to one of your talks.
Yeah.
You spoke a little bit at the talk that I was at about how people will have one problem, but they would have had an underlying problem for a long time before that they weren't addressing.
Yeah.
Is that something that would be able to be addressed by both acupuncture and herbs based off of what the problem is, whether it's some sort of digestive problem, whether it's some sort of other problem in the body?
Yeah, so when a patient comes in for the first time into my office, we do a very thorough health consultation together. And this includes like pages of, you know, of information about their health history. So when we go over that together, although they might be coming in to see me for, say, back pain, they may have these underlying issues that I'm like, hey, you know, do you want to address your hot flashes or your night sweats, you know? And a lot of times people are like, oh, I didn't even know acupuncture could help that, you know? So, and also people don't realize that a lot of times the two are connected. You know, pain is also connected to a lot of more systemic problems as well. So once we dive a little bit deeper, I start asking questions about the history of all these things. And it's, you know, for us, it's kind of like connecting the dots. We can paint a picture of a person's entire body system and kind of figure out what's going on. So although we're treating the low back pain and trying to get them to feel better, we're also addressing their other systemic problems as well.
Gotcha. We have a question from Eric. He wants to know, what are things that you can do between visits?
Oh, gosh. Well, there's so many things you can do. I know I do something called moxibustion in my office, and a lot of my patients, I give them this tool to do at home between visits. Moxibustion is a warming technique that we do with an herb called mugwort. And mugwort is really great for increasing blood circulation, and particularly when there's some kind of bone pain involved. I like to do it for a lot of my patients with arthritis. So I'll give them this moxa that they can do at home. You know, it's a warming technique, kind of like an incense, but does produce a pretty strong smell and a little bit of smoke. So, you know, I tell people, you know, go in your garage or keep a window open or something like that. But that's something they certainly can do at home. In terms of like with my cosmetic acupuncture patients, because we're trying to benefit the skin and increase fine lines and wrinkles, there's a ton of things that I give them to do at home that they do at night before they go to bed, like using a roller on their face and things like that, just to maintain the improvements that we've made through the acupuncture. There's even acupressure. I can give patients acupressure points that they can do at home. Sometimes they involve being on the ear. I'll put magnets on acupressure points on the ear, and I'll have the patient kind of press them and give them a little bit of a massage throughout the week. There's plenty of things that they can do. It's not just like you come in and see me and then, you know, you don't get any homework. You get plenty of homework, and, you know, because healing is definitely a two-way street. I am giving you the tools, and then, you know, it's up to the patient to kind of follow through and do what they need to do on their end also.
That makes a lot of sense. I actually really liked the acupressure points because there was one point where I came in after hitting my head to your office, and I was like, "Hey, I might have a concussion. What can I do about this like whiplash pain?" And that acupoint actually like helped a lot. I was able to like do my everyday things because of that.
Yeah,
We have a question in the comments saying, "Will Moxa work on my knee treatment?" My recommendation is reach out to Marisa after this, and you guys can discuss what would be best for your knee treatment. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm happy to, take questions and calls and emails after this. That's totally fine. Whether or not it's in terms of herbs or whatever, I'm here to answer questions. So feel free to reach out.
Yeah, I don't want to like throw you at this question on here just because everyone's knee problems are different. So what this person might need to do with their knee might be something different than what I would need to do with my knee.
See, you get it.
I get it. I've listened the times that I've come into your office enough times. So what in the last question that you were answering, you mentioned the acupoints in the ears. I know that from coming in that you can solve a lot of problems between points in the ears and points on the feet. Is that correct? And how does that kind of work?
Yeah, so there's actually, it's something called I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, homunculus. I think that's how you say it. It's actually a diagram that shows the entire body on the ear. So it's similar to what you're talking about, like on the foot, because I guess you're thinking of like reflexology, right? Is that what yeah, so there's microsystems throughout the whole body. So you can treat your neck and back pain from the outer cartilage part of your ear. You can treat anxiety, you can treat sleep. There's all different areas on the ear that help this. And the same goes for, different parts of the body too. There's acupuncturists out there who treat the whole body with a system just on the stomach. So it's it just depends on what style of acupuncture you practice. I do actually do a lot of ear needling and ear points, but feet, I just stick to like the general acupuncture meridians on the feet. Yeah.
So circling back to what's going on with coronavirus, I know that we discussed a little bit about prevention and we discussed a little bit about diet. How can people get a hold of you and get consultations for herbs, and what types of things are you like prescribing out?
Yeah. So people can definitely DM me on my Instagram page. That's no problem. My email is super easy. It's info@theacupunctureplace.com. That's the name of my office, The Acupuncture Place. Very easy to remember. And like I said, we would just start with a consultation over the phone or through Skype. And whatever they prefer. And after that, we would just, chat about their history, find out a little bit more about what symptoms they're experiencing or no symptoms at all. Maybe they just want prevention. That's fine too. And then after that, if I don't have the herbs on hand, I do have a lot of herbs on hand right now at the office, which I'm here now about to ship some things out after this. But if I don't have them on hand, then I would be using one of my third-party herbal distributors. And there's a few of them that I use. With all of this going on, it's actually been kind of difficult to get herbs because the demand has been so high. So I really appreciate and respect so much all the workers that have been working around the clock to try and get us herbalists our herbs. It's been crazy. But I think things have slowed down just a tiny bit now, so the pace is moving a little bit quickly. So I think within the week, a patient can expect to get their herbs from the time that I place the order and they arrive at the patient's doorstep. So it seems to be speeding up a little bit, whereas a couple weeks ago, it took me quite a while to get them to myself. But I think that's not really a problem anymore. And yeah, like I said, they come right to the patient, so they don't even have to leave the house if they don't want to. They arrive right with the regular mail.
Interesting. That was going to be my next question of how do they get them?
Yeah.
So they're sent to their house, is that correct?
Yeah, so I just put their information into my system and then I put the formula in, and once I click the button, they get an email saying that the herbs are ready for pickup. And then the patient will click the link, they complete the payment on their own, and then yeah, they get shipped right to them. It's very easy, very convenient.
But on like a normal day when the world's not on fire, they can pick them up by you, correct?
Either or. Yeah, they can pick them up by me, but sometimes it's just easier to have them shipped to the house so they don't have to make an extra trip to me, you know. If a patient's coming in to see me on a Monday and, you know, they might not want to come back in on a Thursday or a Friday to come pick up herbs, so I just ship them to their house. Nice.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I know that I drive like 35, 40 minutes to see you, so if I was getting herbs and it came in the next day, I would be a little disappointed.
Yeah.
So are there any other things that you would either recommend while all of the coronavirus stuff is going on, or maybe we can summarize the points for people that joined in later of the best ways for prevention right now?
Yeah, I would just say reach out. It, you know, of course, does not have to be to me. I'm just here to give people information that this is a resource that we all can be taking advantage of at this time. So if you know an acupuncturist or you have one in your area who's also an herbalist, they can prescribe you the same exact things that I would be doing. So, you know, reach out to them and just see like, hey, this is what I'm feeling, or maybe I'm a little anxious. Is there something you can help me with? And there most likely is. So don't be hesitant. Don't wait until you feel like you have something. I've been sending out a lot of my preventative formulas to patients, and this is exactly what I'm saying to them. I'm giving you this formula. You're going to take it twice a day. And if you start feeling anything whatsoever, please contact me and I will up your dose. And then in the meantime, I'm going to order you something new so that you'll start to take the new formula when that comes in. So that's kind of how I've been playing it with my asymptomatic patients. But as far as prevention goes, you know, just eat a clean diet, you know, add in that ginger and that garlic to your cooking and reduce your sugar and dairy, and go buy pears.
Yes, pears. Now that I know that pears are good for like how did you describe it? Like the lung system? Yeah,
they moisten the lungs and they benefit the respiratory system. So especially with like a cough and even more so a dry cough, pears are really great, and they're best baked. So you want to cook your pears, and then, you know, you can drizzle a little honey and whatnot. I'll post the recipe. Like you said, it's a really quick and easy one, and it's delicious.
So you guys can see that on her story on her Instagram, the Acupuncture Place. And the last point that we really hit pretty hard is to keep hydrated. Yeah. So water, tea.
Yeah. Just drink as much as you can. Again, I feel like so many of the symptoms that are falling around Corona right now involve a lot of heat in the body. There's a lot of fever. There's a lot of dry cough. So when that's the case, we want to make sure that we're replenishing those fluids that have been lost from this heat kind of burning up our fluids in our body. So the best thing we can do, and it's good, I don't think any of us really drink enough water anyways. So I think it's just a good reminder, like, we're home, just keep a glass full and just drink it when you remember, you know. It's just, we should all just be probably drinking more water anyway. So
probably. And then in terms of tea, do you have a recommendation on tea?
Oh gosh, I don't know. You know, I'm drinking Throat Coat right now, which is, I don't know the exact brand, but I just ordered more, and it was like the delivery time was like 10 days or something. And I'm not taking it because I have symptoms, but it just has some really great herbs in it, like echinacea, lemon, chamomile, things like that. So, I mean, if you can find like a tea for cold, that's good now, just as like a preventative type thing. But otherwise, you know, just stick with the warm beverages. Anything that you put into your body is good at this time. So
awesome. Thank you so much for coming on here today and giving
me.
No problem. And I bet that everyone that's watched this has gotten some really good information. So one more time, tell everyone how they can get a hold of you, where they can follow you, and then we'll wrap this up.
Awesome. Yeah, you can DM me right on the Acupuncture Place Instagram page. Happy to answer any questions there, and then we can always take it further to a phone or Skype convo. And you can also shoot me an email at info@theacupunctureplace.com.
Awesome. So we're going to wrap this up, but thank you again for coming on, and thank you for everyone that came on in the audience. I'm going to let this live be on my page for like the next day, so hopefully that we can help like some more people.
Great.
And I will talk to you soon. Maybe I'll get some herbs, you know, now that I know so much more. All right.
Awesome. Be
Bye,
safe.
Marisa.
Be well. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.